everybody. Yes. You see a change in user behavior. More importantly, you see a change in reading behaviors and in purchase behaviors. And obviously, wearable devices have a great role to play in that. And we're going to see that growing even more in 2014. Obviously, with Google Glass and a lot of other wearables. And the fact that we have instant and real time information at any moment is something that definitely changes our perception of information, how we actually consume information at the end of the day. And obviously, you can see here a lot of wearables. They're all it's a huge wave. It's a huge technological wave, right? And if you look at the way people behave day to day, research shows, and this is actually from a Google research drawn, if you look at the interactions that we have, we spend so much time in front of our screens. And, 10% of all the media interactions that we have are basically non-screen based. So it goes without saying that smartphones and devices are taking over our lives. And what we see right now basically is a huge technology wave. And I think publishers feel that pressure quite a bit, having all of these people saying print is dying and nobody's reading anymore. But what we really feel strongly about is that print is a good way to start and to tackle all of these technological changes. And what we really see right now is basically a broken user experience with print content. And perhaps this is why readership in general goes down, is because you are reading a magazine or a book or any print content, and you are forced to interrupt the reading experience and then switch to a mobile device or to any kind of screen, basically, to get you more information about the print content. And this is where we believe we can actually bridge that gap and actually connect the two worlds, connect offline and online world. And obviously, with our amazing technology, which I will be mentioning in a second, and at the end of the day, what we really want to do is to create a meaningful experience for consumers or of information, for your readers, and also for you as a business, so that you give full access to your digital information to your readers through your print, and that you are no longer set, you no longer have the same boundaries in terms of print content and the amount of information you can actually deliver to your readers, right? So here are a couple of titles just to give you an idea of who's using Layar at the moment. I'm sure you know already a bit more about our company so far, but here are a few titles that we're working with and that are tackling this technological wave that I was just talking about, using the Layar creator and basically connecting their readers to their digital resources. So you see LUK, Reader's Digest, Inc. Magazine, a lot of other ones. And, we see that throughout different types of publications. We see it with fashion magazines like Vogue, Glamour Magazine or LUK. But we also see it with catalogs like Dual Aha Life, or other type of publications like Men's Health recently as well. So goes without saying, the leaders in the industry are seeing this need of connecting people to their digital resources. Not so much backtracking from print, but enhancing it and enriching the reading experience. And this is what we aim to do here at Layar. We're very committed to that. And, hopefully this is something that you will be able to achieve. I'm really confident that you will if you follow our advice. But yeah, so as you probably know already, we are an augmented reality app. I'm just going to briefly mention for whoever is joining us today and hasn't had a lot of interaction with Layar. the app itself embeds two types of technology. And the one that we will be talking about today is basically the image recognition technology. The image recognition technology basically recognizes the images that you upload in our system. So it can be images from your print publication, posters, billboards, etc. It recognizes the image, and then it displays augments on top of the image, and that can be videos, that can be website buttons, social media buttons, animations, 3D models. It can be a lot of different things, and this is something that you will be able to create yourself using the new Layer Creator. And I will this is the new Layer Creator, as I was mentioning, right? So we've just released a new version of that, and yeah, a lot of hard work. So kudos to our team for working really hard on this. This is a tool that you can use to basically augment or add digital content on top of your print content. And I'm sure you've probably already had a little bit of interaction with the Layer Creator. If not, I strongly advise you to do that, and also to join us for our next webinar, which will be a free webinar on how to get started with Layer Creator. It'll show you a bit more of a nuts and bolts of how to literally create it from A to Z. Today, we're going to cover mostly the best practices and the main insights that we have from the market. But this is just to show you the environment, what it looks like. So yeah, if you can take a look at the left side, you see the pages, which is basically the images of the print content that you upload in our system. In the middle, you see actually the page that you are about to add digital content on top of, and on the right side you can see the augments. I hope you can actually see it well. I have the GoToWebinar menu right on top. If anybody can see the GoToWebinar menu, please let me know. Send me a line. But yeah, on the right hand side, as I was saying, you can see the buttons that you can simply drag and drop on top of the page, and basically that's it. That's the whole process. It's an upload, create, and publish process. It's really simple. And as I said, if you haven't had the chance to uh, take a closer look at the Layer Creator, I strongly advise you to join us next week, in the coming weeks actually, for our webinar on how to create campaigns. So going forward with this, how to get started, right? I mean, this all sounds really exciting. It's an easy drag and drop tool, all perfect, but at the end of the day, how where do I start, right? I would say it sounds a little bit a bit complicated, but I promise it's not. These are 6 steps that we've developed together with publishers and together with people working in the publishing industry and advertising industry, whoever is using the Layer Creator basically, to get to help you create a process, right? So first off, you create a concept, and that's step 1. Create a concept of the campaign and think of what kind of digital content you would like to offer in addition to your print content. What would work best, and creatively speaking, create something that's going to bring a strong visual or audio experience to your readers. The second off is preparing the pages according to best practices, and that strictly relates to some technical aspects of what kind of pages can be recognized by the app, or basically it just tells you what kind of pages you can augment. The third step is basically creating clear how-to instructions, and that means that you have the unique opportunity, and I want to mention that it's really an important or critical step in creating an interactive print campaign, educating your readers on how to use the app and what kind of content they can actually experiment after scanning the page. The fourth step is creating a call to action, and this acts as a reminder for your readers of what pages are augmented, and ultimately, you can use it as a tool to get them excited about the type of content that you're going to offer. The fifth step is creating custom buttons, and this refers basically to the in-app experience. So after they have actually scanned the page, what kind of buttons they will see. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to show you a couple of examples. We highly recommend that you do create custom buttons that are designed in a contextual manner, that look very similar yet still stand out from the print content. I'll give you a bit more details on that in a second. And the sixth step is finalizing and publishing the campaign. And we have a couple of tips there as well, where you can refer back to and figure out if the campaign is optimal and everything works well. So that being said, let's start with the first step and think about a couple of concepts. So I would say there are a couple of things that I would like to mention here and would like you to remember from this step. In order to make a lasting impression, right? I would say there are three key aspects here that probably are really good to keep in mind. So, at the end of the day, the campaign that you're going to create, so the digital content that you are going to add on top of the print content, needs to reflect and focus on your main objectives. And an easy example of that would be if you were trying to augment a catalog. It makes sense that you will add buy buttons or share on social media or with friends or any type of related augments. However, as tempting as it sounds, probably other augments such as SoundCloud or audio will not make as much sense in terms of context, in terms of the type of content that you're trying to augment. So, keep it simple, keep it focused on your objective, I would say. And second off, focus on what your target user group wants. So you know it better than I do. You need to give your readers what they would like to see, what they would like to listen to, obviously, or what they would like to experience through the print content and the digital content. And generally focus on providing an outstanding user experience. That's sounds really exciting, sounds really great, but how to do it? Well, we're going to teach you today on how to actually offer a really great user experience. So here are a couple of tips, right? What we've seen a lot with publications is that it's very good to keep a good balance between the editorial and commercial content. And what I mean by this is that if you have a magazine, you're trying to augment, let's say, a couple of sections of the magazine, or when it comes down to selecting which pages would be really great for augmentation, I would say try to keep a balance between how many editorial pages and how many ads you're trying to augment. At the end of the day, editorial content always draws much more usership, and advertisements attract new users if they are highly relevant and if they're really interactive and they're really exciting. So it's always good to keep a balance between the two of those. Whenever personally, whenever I've seen campaigns that have more advertisements than editorial content, I see that users are not very excited to come back and scan the content. And the same thing goes for editorial versus commercial. When you have more editorial content, the same thing happens, right? So try to keep a balance here. And the same goes for quality and quantity of content. And what I mean by this is that it's much better to have a couple of pages or a few sections of a magazine or of a publication with really great interactive content, rather than having 100 pages, 200 pages, or each page of a publication with the same type of button or same type of augments. And because this repetitive experience basically will not keep your readers coming back to it. They will feel disengaged. They will feel a sense of anticipation that will, you know, they will just assume from here onwards that the only type of content they can actually see is, you know, a couple of buttons and that's it. So, you know, keep them guessing, keep them excited about it. And generally, it's better to have sections of magazines or key articles augmented rather than having the entire publication augmented. And that'll not only makes it for a better user experience, but it's also easier for you to manage and to create, having a bit of a less workload. So if you're thinking, okay, well, this sounds great. What kind of digital content can I actually, or should I actually add on top of my pages? Here are a couple of pointers, right? These are a couple of well, 5 features that we've identified in terms of content that we think would really benefit you. Uh, Aim for a combination of 2 or 3 of these, you know. So the obviously the content needs to be relevant to your target audience. If you can maybe include exclusive information such as behind the scenes or exclusive videos, exclusive interviews, or maybe specific downloads that you can facilitate for your readers, that's great. At the same time, it's really good. Interactive print is a really good opportunity for you to offer extra information, such as, you know, did you know, kind of bubbles of information, or tips or insights or anything like that. On the other hand, entertaining content also attracts a lot of readers and keeps them coming back. So, you know, you can do that by offering videos, by offering HTML augments, which we'll mention in a second. You know, so basically just making it also an interactive experience, because at the end of the day, people would like to interact with their print content. It's something that goes so further beyond their normal reading experience, that they will definitely come back and they will definitely feel that they have had a really good user experience. So here are a couple of concepts, right? These are a couple of, actually a bit more than just a couple, a few more interactive print concepts that we've seen and that worked really well with their target audience. Um, One of them is basically the idea of hidden or incomplete reality. And it's a very simple concept. What you see here, for example, is revealing a surprise to your readers. It's an example that we show a lot because I think, well, especially for advertisers, it takes a little bit of courage to do this. What you see on the left hand side is basically the actual print page. It's an advertisement for Mercedes that was released here in the Netherlands. And what it shows is literally the car, the new Mercedes E-Class, covered up by a red cape. And as soon as you scan it, you can see the new model. It's a really simple augment. It's just an image, right? It's not even a video, I think, as far as I remember. But you know, that surprise element definitely makes it for a memorable experience for your readers. Indeed, it looks a little bit extreme, but it's a really interesting way of looking at it, an interesting way of revealing digital content, and ultimately something that creates a sense of excitement. Here's another one from O'Neill, simple as that, covering the model and then revealing the swimsuit. And I think it was in 2012 for one of their special catalogs, the summer catalogs. Again, simply revealing a surprise to the readers and just showing, you know, extra information. Another one is like, this one is actually from a Dutch magazine. Really interesting case. This page is actually featured in the middle of the magazine, somewhere close to the middle, and it had actually much more users coming in than the cover of the magazine, which is sometimes, you know, for what we've seen so far, is not very common. And that's specifically because they chose to reveal a secret character. Now, apparently here in the Netherlands, this is a very popular cartoon. I am not from the Netherlands. I wouldn't know, but I heard it's something that the Dutch audience would really appreciate. So indeed, if you can reveal a secret character in your publication, that's really interesting. Doesn't have to be a character at all, obviously, but just to emphasize the idea behind it, that it creates a sense of excitement to readers. Here's another one, also an hidden reality kind of concept. This is actually something that we created here in house, whereby we let people buy a watch and simply visualize what it looks like on their hand. What you see on the right hand side is basically an image button, a custom button, a buy button, um, that shows the hand positioned right on top of the watch. It's not a 3D hand. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it has a similar visual impact as a 3D model, because it puts the reader in a new context, in a new way of looking at their print content and imagining themselves wearing that watch. And yeah, so I think it's pretty exciting, and yeah, it had a really great response as well. Another concept that you can go after, obviously, is offering a shopping experience that is out of the ordinary. And looking a little bit at research, it's actually from the previous research that I mentioned, from Google. It shows that there's, smartphones generally lead to purchases across channels. And what I would like to emphasize here is, if anybody here is interested in making interactive print work for purchase models, um, of course, it's really early on, and that's a debate that's going on a lot in terms of mobile purchasing. Indeed, people are a little bit reluctant, but what we see right now is a trend that shows that people are going away from that initial reluctance feeling, and they're using their smartphones to get more information about the products they would like to purchase. That being said, even if your readers won't make a final purchase at the very moment they are reading your magazine, they are at least further ahead in their purchase decision making process. So this is what we see a lot, right? We see a lot with smartphones, I think, across industries, that people use it as a personal shopper assistant. So we highly encourage you to go after this model. And here's something that maybe Dwell Aha Life, which is very popular in the US. It basically is new catalog released by Dwell with really nice luxury products, actually, curated by designers, by specialists. And what they have done is basically create a catalog augmented with Layar, that is fully shoppable. And I'm going to show you the video really quick. Hopefully, you get a little bit of an idea of what I mean by shoppable catalog. And then I'm going to unmute everybody. Maybe anybody has some questions.
We're excited to actually present to you the first fully shoppable augmented reality magazine with Dwell. It's pretty amazing. What we've done here is actually found inspiring looks from across the world. Everything from tabletop to design accents and ways to upgrade your home. So whatever mood you're in, you can actually go and get inspired here. What's amazing about it is that together with the app on your phone, as you're reading the magazine, you can actually directly scan it and very seamlessly be able to purchase it or share it with your friends or pin it on Pinterest. So this takes away the inconvenience of having to rip out that page from the magazine and find a PC to actually be able to type and buy your products. Now what you can do is sit back and relax in your favorite couch, read the magazine, find things you love, scan it, buy it, and share it right there and then. So really excited to actually finally merge modern design with modern technology. I'm really excited for you guys to join the Aha Life community. So happy shopping and enjoy.
I hope you heard that well. I'm not sure if the video played very smoothly, but this is basically what it looks like as soon as you scan a page with the app. You see shop and share buttons on top. Very simple user experience, but very effective. Perhaps what's really interesting about this, something that surprised us as well, someone purchasing, I think it was $1,000 or $2,000 rug over their smartphone. It's something that you don't really see very often in terms of mobile purchasing. But as I was saying, it's a really simple user experience, and it delivers the value behind it, the ease of purchase, simply using the smartphone without having to go to a website on a laptop or on a tablet. So the reading experience or the magazine browsing experience is not interrupted in a very unpleasant way. So I'm going to unmute everybody. I hope I'm just going to quickly pause this, and I hope that you have questions. If not, just let me know. So yeah, if anybody has some questions, please ask away. I'm going to leave this open. But yeah, basically what we have so far is a couple of concepts that will definitely help you. Please, okay, I see Tichang has a question. Can you hear me, Tichang? I'm not sure if
Can you hear me?
yes, hello, hi.
Okay. Thank you so much, Georgia, for
No
your
worries.
speaking. Yeah. I would like to ask you the first question because right now I'm going to doing a video, and I would like to make sure, do I need a shot a video for like 320 for 240? Because this magazine pretty much like the pretty long. It's not like you know what I mean?
You're asking me about the size of the
Yeah, size
video
of a
that is needed?
video because I really care about sometimes like right now your slide is like long, it's longer. It's not
Indeed,
very
indeed.
yes. So when I because on Friday I'm going to do a video shooting.
Okay.
So I would like to ask you, do I what kind of direction can you recommend me to do and ask my cameraman to doing what I want?
Indeed. So I will send you actually as a follow up to this webinar. Everybody will get a round of materials, and
Mm-hmm.
I will forward you a tutorial actually for that, where you see all
Okay.
the video specifications. But I will show you in a couple of seconds actually a really interesting concept that maybe you can go after. It basically makes use of the print image to create a video. So, or actually, rather the other way around, excuse me, makes use of the video content to create the print content. And this is how you actually give the impression that the print content is coming to life. So let's say you are going to shoot a video this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah. Right.
I would advise you, if possible, to use some of those images or imagery from the video on the print content, and then place the
Mm-hmm.
video on top. And as soon as you do that, it'll look like it's coming to life. I'm going to show you an example in a minute on that. So if you can just bear with me, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
come back to that. I promise. Okay.
Okay.
I'll send you
Thank you
some
so
more
much.
materials on that. Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. If anybody has any other questions, please let me know. You can also raise your hand in the list over there. But I'm going to go forward with this. Keep showing you a few more interactive print concepts. So I'm going to play it back. So as I was saying, in terms of buying process, in terms of creating catalogs, here's a couple of more examples. Actually, one from Suit Supply, another one from Philips, and basically creating a really simple, seamless shopping experience that will allow your readers to see more information about the product and to ultimately buy the product. Um, Going forward with this, how about taking a look at advertisements? I'm sorry if that was a little bit loud, but Indeed, this is what I was talking about, Chang, actually, with the advertisement. What you see here is a video that plays directly in augmented reality. So as soon as you scan the image on the left-hand side, the actual print image, you are able to see this video playing directly on the smartphone screen. Not only is it a really strong visual experience, but it's a memorable one, hopefully. And as you can see, it really complements the print content. It literally looks like the print is coming to life. Here's another example with interactive advertisements. And this is an even simpler one, basically, because it just shows an advertisement coming to life by simply changing the colors. And at the end of the day, it's not so much about how complicated you make it from a technical point of view. It's more about what creates a stronger impression on your readers. I see we have another question. I'm going to come back at it in a minute. Yeah, here's from the same company, actually. So this is from Crystal Light, popular beverage in the US, apparently. It's something that they've created throughout a period of 2-3 months, I think, in different magazines. And what you have to do is simply scan the page, and then here in this case you see HTML augments. And HTML augments are very, very nice. They're a really great way of getting readers engaged in the scanning experience, in the AR experience. What they have created here is basically a menu that you can tap to see more flavors. And this has been made using the Layer Creator. You can code similarly as you would code for a website. So it's very straightforward HTML coding. But if this is a little bit too complicated, you can always find more resources online, pre-coded things such as polls, voting widgets, weather widgets, a lot of new things that are pre-built and that you can simply copy paste and then just use in the Layer Creator. Another interactive advertisement is this one. It's actually for Ann Taylor, special edition with Kate Hudson. It's a billboard that they have augmented and that basically allows customers to scan and be able to get on the launch party list, and also share the event on Twitter, on Facebook, and pin the image on Pinterest. Aside from that, also watching an exclusive video. So, you have a lot of different functionalities here. But what is really great is basically allowing your readers or your customers to interact with you in times when perhaps the store is closed, or perhaps you want them to join in a special event. So you can use advertisements for an even further multimedia experience. Another really great concept, and I've seen tremendous response on that, is basically with contests and quizzes and sweepstakes. And yeah, as any advertiser would tell you, or you probably know yourself as well, these are really great reasons for getting users engaged. So it creates a sense of excitement, it creates a sense of anticipation on this. And basically what you see here is a simple example from Samsonite, where readers can actually win a luggage set from Samsonite by tapping on exploring globalista, etc. And they are also able to see a video. So these kind of contests and these kind of triggers, mental triggers actually, are very strong, and it seems that users have a really strong response to. So if there's any opportunity for you to use contests or click and win kind of actions, please do, because it definitely gets your readers engaged with your print content at a different level. And what's even better is that you see word of mouth coming from that. People telling people about what's happening with your magazine. So we highly encourage you to use it and to get people talking about it. Another really important aspect here is making your cover page interactive. And I wouldn't put it in the same category as the other ones. I would say this is very important, especially if you're just starting with interactive print, and especially if you're trying to introduce this introduce the digital content in a new way to your readers. Basically, cover pages generally get the most users and the most interactions in. And basically, it acts as a red carpet, if you will, for your readers to get engaged with your magazine, to see what is so special about it, and to make a strong visual impression. Here's an example, actually, from a fashion magazine where basically you can see the ladies swimming in the swimming pool. Very relaxed, nothing very special about it in terms of entertainment. It simply just creates a very strong visual impression. And, it basically gives readers the impression that the print is coming to life. And what's really exciting about this is that, it creates a very memorable experience. And, it creates, as I was mentioning before, opportunities of word of mouth. So sharing this type of interaction with other friends and with other people. Here's another one. This is actually a very simple augment. This is an HTML augment. So basically, when you scan the image, what you will be able to see is the cover page changing colors and changing images. And it goes very well with the theme of the magazine, Cultivate Change. So again, it doesn't have any it doesn't have any audio behind it. It simply shows different images and different colors. But, at the end of the day, it simply creates a strong impact, visual impact. And, if you can use that opportunity to invite readers and create a sense of excitement regarding the next pages that they are able to scan, that would be great. We highly encourage you to do so. We highly encourage you to ultimately augment your cover pages. Here's another one, actually. Again, simple video placed on top. So yeah, very straightforward. Again, it doesn't have a very functional aspect to it. It's mostly for getting readers excited and creating a very wow effect, creating a wow effect behind it. Yeah, indeed. It's something that we see a lot happening, especially with new publications, that this is a concept that they go after a lot, and it creates a lot of usership as well. So, as I was saying, I was mentioning before, I highly encourage you to augment your cover pages and also engage your readers via social media. And a lot of talk has been going on about how social media is helping publications to get feedback and to engage with the audience. We highly encourage you to do that. And this is why we've created a series of buttons that you can drag and drop on top of the pages. We have like buttons, we have follow on Twitter buttons, but we also have Twitter feeds. So what you see actually here in this image is a Twitter feed positioned on top of the page where readers are able to swipe back and forth between tweets from a specific account or based on a specific hashtag. And particularly works well with events where you have specific hashtags where people are sharing their opinions, sharing their experiences regarding a specific event, or uh, for editorial use. You can let readers see the Twitter feed of a specific editor or a specific celebrity, anything that you think would work really well with the print content. And here's a couple of other examples that you could think of. So location relevant content. This is something that Lonely Planet has done really well with all of the European guides. So whenever you go out right now and scan one of these guides, you will be able to see the augment with Layar. So you'll be able to book a hotel, to see live weather, see an introduction video to the specific location, and more information that is specifically tailored for the guide that you are buying. Um, Again, this works really well for guides, for magazines, local magazines, and anything that is location based information. You can also obviously offer podcasts and video lectures, and this is more for the educational aspect of it. You can link your readers to tutorials, how-to videos. You know, it's a growing trend to have interactive print embedded in educational materials, and we highly encourage you to do so. We see that with training materials for kids, as I will show you in a second, but we see it as well with lifelong learning programs, obviously, with training materials for companies, and so on and so forth. Here's the one I was mentioning before with education for kids. This is actually a map of the world that is augmented with Layar. And as soon as a kid or maybe even an adult scans the map of the world, they'll be able to see different animals, different other types of buttons on top that make a sound or send you to a specific link. And this is a completely new way of interacting with maps, especially for kids, and seeing they're really used to screens. I would say this is a really great opportunity to turn something print to turn print content into something even further educational. So, by all means, we highly encourage you to think outside of the box, to think outside of the realm of magazines. So, if you can find any kind of other concept that would lend itself really well to interactive print, we're always glad to hear. We see new things coming up every day. The other day, actually, we had one of Sean Paul's albums augmented with Layar, where you can listen to the songs. You can also check out new concerts. You know, we see a lot of different applications for this. So if you do happen to have something exciting, we're always glad to hear from you. And as I was mentioning before, how-to videos really popular. Also, you are able to enrich editorials, and I've mentioned this before. This is actually from Inc. magazine, and what they have done basically is a feature of young smart entrepreneurs, top 30 under 30. And what really actually adds value here in terms of interactive print is the fact that you're not able to also read about these really young talented people, but also see them speak about their passion, hear them put a face to it, you know. And ultimately this makes for a really rich reading experience. Before we go forward, I'm going to quickly pause my screen and see if anybody has some questions. I see Tichang has one. We have another question here from Hernan. He is saying, I'm interested in seeing examples of finding more information on geolocation campaigns. Hernan, with all the pleasure, I will mention that. But actually, what's really, really great is that we're going to have a couple of more webinars on that, free webinars on geolocation. We're going to talk about this in the coming weeks. I'm not going to be able to cover this right now, but indeed, this is something that's growing a lot and that we have a lot of interest in. For those of you who don't know a bit more about geolocation, I mentioned before the Layar app embeds two technologies, and one of them is geolocation. And what it basically means is that it makes use of the GPS capabilities of your phone to display augments around you. And it's very similar to what you've seen with Google Glass, except it's based on your specific location. So you're able to see restaurants around you, to see concert venues around you, ATMs, or whatever else you're interested in. So it's a really exciting field to be in. And Hernan, we are going to share more information on that. And you can definitely tune in with one of our webinars on this specific, um, on this specific topic. And Dan is asking me here, how do we prepare videos to play in augmented reality? What format do we use? Do we have to host videos elsewhere than on YouTube or Vimeo? Thank you for asking this, Dan. This is a really good question. So the way you prepare videos to play in augmented reality is basically by creating MP4 videos. So they need to be in an MP4 format. I will send you the specifications in our follow-up email. They need to be somewhere between, actually maximum 640 by 480 pixels. This is a bit too specific. I'm not going to go right now in all the details. And this is basically the format. So MP4, and if you want them to play directly in augmented reality, then you need to host them yourself on your server or on Vimeo. Or on YouTube, if you use a YouTube link, that will not enable them to play in AR, unfortunately. But we have a couple of more resources on that. We have some tutorials specifically for Vimeo and for other types of hosting services. So I will make sure you get all of that information in. Okay, and Ted Chong is asking, can you let me know how do you do words and video at the same time, like the fashion magazine that I just showed you, that I just showed a second ago? Tachang, I will send you more information on that. But basically, what I was mentioning earlier on, what you do is you create the video content first, and using the video content, you create the print content. So you use imagery from the same video to create the print content, and then in the layer creator, as you do your design work, you are able to drag and drop the video on top, make it start from the same frame basically as the video, and as soon as you scan it, you're able to see the video play directly in augmented reality. I will give you more information on that. Don't worry. It sounds very complicated. I'm sorry for everybody who is tuning in and probably got lost along the way. Don't worry about it. I will share all of this information with you, and you'll be able to get an idea of how to actually execute all of these things. But basically, for anybody interested, again, we will be having a couple of more introduction webinars, free webinars, where you can tune in and see how to actually execute some of these ideas. It's going to introduce the new layer creator and all the features that are covered in the layer creator. And right now I'm going to go back to the presentation. And again, if you have more questions, please put them in the questions box. Then I can tune in and check out what you've been asking me. I'm going to show my screen again. So going forward with this, preparing the pages. And as I was mentioning, this is a little bit more technical. It basically gives you a couple of tips on what kind of pages can be augmented with Layer. And what you need to remember basically is to make sure you're augmenting a flat surface, so a magazine page, and upload it in high resolution, but don't make it too big. Don't make it bigger than 5 megabytes. Just make sure that the page has sufficient size and image detail, basically, because at the end of the day, the page should not contain large portions of blank area or very repetitive patterns there, or graphics that look the same in any orientation, or pages that have a lot of body text. And the reason behind this is that as soon as you upload the image in our system, in the layer creator, the system will automatically scan the page and make a visual map, a black and white visual map of this. And if you don't have enough image detail and unique design elements to it, it would be very hard for the system to correctly create that map and to display the augments when you scan it on top. And you can sort of imagine it as a visual map with points of reference. So indeed, if you have a blank area or if you have really small text, it's really hard to establish those points of reference there. So the app ultimately can't really display the buttons or the videos very well on top. So, at the end of the day, the best way to figure out whether it works or not, whether a page is optimal for augmentation, is to simply create a campaign in the layer creator, upload the pages in the campaign, and you will get some initial feedback from us. So if the page is really unsuitable for augmentation, the system will automatically reject it. But if not, uh, at the end of the day, it's really good to just place some dummy buttons on top and then scan each page and see if the buttons are correctly displayed. If the buttons look a little bit shaky, it means that the page is probably not really good for augmentation. And it's really important to do this before you print out the publication, the print content, because you wouldn't want to have a call to action, which I'm going to speak about in a second. You wouldn't want to have a call to action placed on a page that cannot be scanned properly. It's better to not have it scannable rather than having a poor user experience. And as I was mentioning, it's really important that you test this before printing out, right? So keep it in mind. By all means, test the pages before you add calls to action or instructions or anything like that. Going forward with this, how-to instructions. And as I was mentioning before, instructions are really important because it basically gives you the opportunity and at the same the challenge to educate your readers on how to use the app and what kind of content they can actually see after scanning a page. What is really important to keep in mind here is that you reserve space for instructions and that you place them at the very beginning of your publication. Try to explain what is so special about this issue of your magazine or your print publication, because as I was saying, it is a great opportunity to get readers excited about the type of content they can see and the type of experience they can go through. So just make them curious and give them a reason to engage with your magazine. And if I could pinpoint the things that you need to mention here is basically how to discover the digital content, uh, basically mentioning how should they scan the page, what should they look for, and that's the call to action basically, and where exactly on the page. It's also very helpful if you mention the app is available on Android and iOS for free. And here's actually an example of a full page feature of the instructions. I know it's a lot to deal with, especially if you're having if you cannot afford to reserve a full page for instructions. But this is something that we've seen that works really well. And this especially because it doesn't look like an advertisement, but it doesn't look like an editorial piece either. So, it simply shows clear steps on how to download the app and how to use it. And of course, you can customize this. You will get links and access to the artwork for this, but at the end of the day, just make sure that it attracts attention and that you position it at the very beginning of the magazine. Here is actually an alternative to that set of instructions. There's actually a section that you can simply add on top of the pages, on top of a page that you especially create, if you cannot afford to reserve a full page for instructions. And what you see here is a sequence of 1, 2, 3 kind of steps where it simply shows through pictograms what kind of how to actually go about using Layer. If possible, we highly recommend that you do use a QR code for people to quickly download the app. If not, then make sure that these instructions are really visible and they stand out. The call to action, very important aspect of any interactive print campaign. And I would say it's one of the aspects that it's a deal breaker. If you do it well, it really will bring forth good results. If it's not very visible, then it's probably going to affect the usership actually. So the call to action, what's a call to action? It's basically a notification that you are showing to your readers, telling them which pages are scannable with Layer, and also a way of exciting them about the type of content they can actually access. And here is basically the artwork that we generally recommend publishers to use. It basically involves the AR logo, the Layer logo, but also a phone pictogram. And the reason behind this is that we believe it's going to attract attention and also prime readers to think of using their smartphone and an app rather than just going to a website. Uh, you can see here a couple of variations of the type of text there, but just make sure that it is visible and that it is informative in terms of what kind of content readers can expect after scanning a page with Layer. So be specific about it. Don't feel afraid that the excitement will go away, because statistically speaking, what we've seen so far is that the more specific the call to action, the better the chance that readers will actually scan the page. What we will emphasize, would like to actually point out, is that it's important to avoid unclear calls to action, something such as view with Layer or scan with Layer, simply because it just doesn't attract readers as much as specific calls to action do. If you can include a note on where to find the instructions, either in the call to action or uh, somewhere in the page that you place the call to action on, that will be great. This is something that we've tested out with a couple of publishers already. And, at the end of the day, it is possible that readers bypass the set of instructions and that they don't see what you have in reserve for them for digital content experience. So they do happen to see the call to action later onwards, but they don't know where it comes from or how to actually use it. This is where, a note on where to find the instructions can be really helpful. A very important aspect here, and I cannot stress this enough, is to place the calls to action on every single page that contains digital content, simply because there is no way of guessing which pages contain digital content or not. And just to give you a really quick example, actually, this is an example I've seen recently, I think, in a magazine. It was actually a magazine for teenagers. What happened was, similar pages, one next to the other. The page that contained a call to action had 17,000 users within a few days, and the next page, which didn't feature a call to action, had 2,000 unique users. So the dramatic difference in usership that comes with the call to action makes us think that it's a very crucial aspect for any successful interactive print campaign. And this is why we highly recommend and we urge you to place a call to action on every single page that is augmented. Here are a couple of examples. So this is actually an example from a catalog. Simply scan to buy something with Layer. And what you see here in terms of formulation is that it shows you the action you need to take, scan, how to do it or what to do it with, so with Layer, and the outcome of the fact that you're scanning to buy. And this is a very important aspect to it. And here are a couple more examples of calls to action, where to position them. And what I would say here, actually, in terms of positioning, a couple of rule of thumbs. Position calls to action on exterior corners, so nothing that is close to the stub of the magazine, in clean corners, and if possible, if design allows, as close as possible to the center of attention of the page. This is actually what I was mentioning before. If you place the call to action really close to the stub of the magazine, then as soon as you keep reading or going forward in the reading experience, that part of the magazine becomes invisible. So actually, what happens there is that readers will not be able to see the call to action anymore, and you will not see any unique users accessing your digital content. And this is actually a real example from a Dutch magazine. And unfortunately, the magazine has more than 200 pages. So you can imagine, as soon as you keep reading, you can't see the stub of the magazine anymore. You can't see the call to action anymore. So you see that translated directly into statistics, where yeah, there's very few users actually accessing the digital content. And we go forward with custom buttons. Oh, this is a great one. I really love custom buttons. And the reason behind it is because you have a really great opportunity to make the digital content look like it's coming from the print page. You probably already know that we offer standard buttons in the Layer Creator, and that you can simply drag and drop. And those are really great. They're very functional, they're very easy to use. And we've created them for everybody who would like to get started with interactive print and who would like to get a campaign running. But what really adds value here is creating custom buttons that actually have a contextual design. And what I mean by this is that they make sense in the context of the page that they are placed on. So if you look at the add to cart button over there in the in the right lower hand side, uh, imagine you would see that in a catalog and being placed on a specific example image, or I don't know, next to other types of bags, and being able to actually tap it and add it to a cart. Again, contextual design. It makes sense with the context, but it stands out as a new element added to the page. And it also has sort of a surprise feel to it as well. So it's really great. And as you can see, some other examples there: just enter sweepstakes, custom buttons for sending out an email or downloading a free white paper, etc. It's all up to you. This is something that you can create in Photoshop. Any designer can create that for you. You can create it for yourself, or you can simply use a lot of templates online, a lot of resources online on that, with buttons that you could use either on a website or you can use it here as well. And all of these buttons you can upload as a JPEG or as a PNG image. So there's not too much technicality behind it, fortunately. It's really easy to use. So let me give you just a couple of examples. Here's something that maybe would make sense. Here is actually a video button created in context with the print content. And what it looks like is basically that it gives you the impression that you can actually tap on the smartphone that the person is holding, and be able to interact with the print content. It makes sense in the context it's being placed, and it gives you a feel of entering a new reality. Basically, it gives you a really nice illusion behind it. Here's another example of custom buttons. This is actually a interesting example of semi-transparent background. Again, this has been created in Photoshop as a PNG format. It's really simple. You can find a lot of resources online as well. So, feel free to step out of the ordinary with this and just, play around with opacity, play around with colors. What these buttons do actually uh, is basically allowing readers to tap and pick their favorite cover of the magazine, and it links them to, I believe, an email address. where they can actually vote for their favorite image. Here's another one. In terms of positioning of buttons as well, uh, something I would like to mention is that it's all up to you. Obviously, it's a creative process at the end of the day, but just position them wherever it makes sense the most. And if you can add value to the print content through these custom buttons, that's even better. For example, on the right hand side, you see a couple of products stacked on top of the other, and what you see on top actually is buttons that show you the full version of the product, and you can see it on different sides. Again, contextual, very nicely done, and it stands out properly from the print content and reveals more information at the end of the day. So it has a very functional component to it as well. um, Again, as I was just to basically narrow it down, custom buttons are more of an aesthetic choice, but just make sure that they look natural in context with the image, and just try to place them on visually busy parts. As I was mentioning before, if you place them on uh, image rich pages, they will track better, they will look better, they will not look shaky, and the app will be able to better recognize the image that you upload in our system. And we're coming to the final step. I'm going to briefly switch and see if anybody has some questions here. If nobody has any questions, we can go forward with this. This is the final step, so we can. I'll unmute everybody. I think that will be better. So I'm going to go forward with this and talk a little bit about how to test and how to finalize your campaign. And it seems very simple, but actually there's just a couple of things that are really important to keep in mind. It is simple, but the devil is in the details at the end of the day. So what I would like to emphasize here is that thorough campaign testing is really important. This is basically because it's going to allow you to alter details here and there that can potentially have a really great impact on the user experience. And what do you have to do actually to test and finalize it is basically to check for both technical and aesthetic aspects. And that means that you have to scan all the pages that you have augmented with Layar and see if everything works correctly. Check it, if possible, with an iPhone and Android device, and using the latest Layar version. If possible, and this is actually an insider tip, this is something that we've experienced a lot here at Layar. If possible, do a test with a small group of colleagues that were not involved in your project. As much as possible, people who have never used the app, or people who have used the app but are not familiar with what you have been doing or creating. And actually, this will show you what their initial reaction is. Let me briefly show my screen again. Apologies for that. You haven't missed too much. Yeah, if possible, do a test with a small group of colleagues who are not involved in the project. Basically, it'll show you their reaction, yeah, and it'll also be an opportunity for you to get feedback, to get very sincere feedback, and an opportunity to make small adjustments that can have a really good impact. So, what do you have to do actually to test and finalize is double check the quality of the pages. So, make sure that the instructions are clear enough. The buttons are positioned in a contextual way, so they look good on the page. The buttons are correctly displayed, so they're not very shaky. They look good in the app, and if each button functions well, if the links are working. And I would like to mention here, as much as possible, make sure you link to mobile websites. And again, make sure that the videos play well, and generally, if it's a good user experience. So, just the way it feels to scan the publication you're working on, try to step away from the creator point of view and step in the shoes of the user. And one really important aspect here in this step of the process is to raise awareness. And what I mean by that is that it's very important to communicate to your readers that your publication has been augmented with digital content. You can do that via PR, promotions, social media, because at the end of the day, it really does make a tremendous difference. And this is in two ways. One of them is that it gets your current readers excited about your upcoming edition. Second off, it attracts new readers, which is ultimately a great thing to have. And it positions you as someone who's innovative as well. So if anything, it further improves your image as a publication. So again, raise awareness. I think it's really important, and we've seen tremendous differences in that. It really does add up to the overall numbers of a campaign. And after finalizing and basically allowing your readers to see the beautiful digital content you've created, it's time to measure your results. And what's really great right now is that the Layer Creator will give you the opportunity to visualize these statistics in real time, and you will be able to see campaign statistics for the entire sorry, for in terms of page views, so how many times people have scanned your pages, total interactions, how many times they have tapped on an augment, and how many total unique users you've had for the specific campaign. You can see that also the same information for each page, so how many times it has been scanned, how many users, and also for each type of button. And that's really great because it allows you to see what kind of pages and what kind of augments does your target reader group like most. And in this way, you get really great feedback, statistics feedback as well, on what kind of content you should be focusing perhaps in future campaigns. What's really great is also that you'll be able to see all of this information displayed on timelines. So you'll see the peak days and maybe get a little bit of insights on the reading habits of your readers. And also you'll be able to see where they actually come from. You'll see it on a really nice map. What I have here is an older image of the Layer Creator statistics. So I'm just going to jump on here and uh, I'm again, as I said, please make sure that you try it out in the Layer Creator, and that you know, you're going to be able to see the statistics and everything else after you publish it. This is actually a first campaign timeline. Just for you to get an idea, it looks a little bit complicated. I promise it's not. Just a couple of things I would like to emphasize here. This is actually created for a monthly publication, and what is perhaps very important to mention is that it's very good to think of a campaign concept at the same time as you're gathering the ideas for print. So, as Techang was mentioning before about the video, he is thinking of it at a really early stage, right? He is creating the digital content and then thinking, okay, how can I actually integrate it with my print content? That's exactly the moment where it needs to start. So as soon as you start thinking of concepts for your publication, what kind of articles or what kind of I don't know, interviews or whatever other print content you want to offer to your readers, think of the digital content that you will be offering that goes really well along with. And that will allow you to create digital assets that look really nice and look contextually very good with the print content. Uh, Another thing that's really important here is that you give yourself some time to actually create the campaign. It's a very easy system to do. Sorry, a very easy system to use. And the Layer Creator, again, is a very simple to use tool. But if you need more time to create custom buttons, or if you need anything in terms of video and you need to test it out, get some feedback, allow yourself a couple of days or a week to to have some room, make adjustments. And again, make sure that before you go to print, you test the pages that you would like to augment. You add calls to action on each page, and then you also have the instructions. These are three key components. And now we go further with the questions and answers. We're pretty much done with the slides, but I'm really curious to hear your feedback. I'm going to briefly switch and unmute everybody. If you have any questions, also please write them down in the questions box. There's no problem. I can answer them there as well. But thank you for tuning in so far. It's really great to have you. Okay, I am muted everybody. Fantastic.
Hey, Mary.
Great. Okay. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I've unmuted everybody. By all means, let's talk if you have any questions. But as I was saying, we will share more information with you right after the webinar. We will send you more information on how to actually execute some of these ideas, and a couple more tutorials, access to our help desk, and yeah. So we're really excited to have had you over. I'm really excited to hear from you, to hear back from you. And again, if you have questions, you can always contact our help center. This is help.layar.com. I'm going to show you in a second. But yeah, I'm really excited to have had you here. I have here a question from Dan. Dan is asking, once a campaign is finalized, um, can we go back in and edit the augmented layer? Yes, Dan, absolutely no problem. After you finalize a campaign and after you actually publish it, you can make all the changes you want, actually. So there's absolutely no problem. Um, Marie is asking, are there specific requirements for images on PC screens? No, not necessarily. So what I mean by, I hope I get this right, Pia. If you can interrupt me at any moment, please do. But I'm guessing you're referring here to the images you can actually upload in the layer creator. If so, I would suggest, as I mentioned before, upload images that have sufficient um, image details and have a lot of unique design elements.
No, actually, I was referring more to, for example, if they want to publish it on their, I don't know, Facebook page as well, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be possible? And is there like specific requirements since it's a
Oh,
computer screen instead of paper?
oh, indeed. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. No, it's a user experience that I would not generally advise for, and that is because the image that needs to be augmented, it needs to be a static image. If it's a Facebook page or if it's something that changes, the app will not be able to recognize it. So I would highly recommend this for print images. Indeed.
Okay, thanks.
No worries, no worries. Hernan is asking us, are there HTML widgets in the layered library that could be used? Otherwise, I know there are sites where samples can be found. Yes, Hernan, absolutely. We have a couple of examples in our dev support system. I'm actually going to share my screen really quick. I would like to show you a little bit around. So this is actually the environment. So this is the layer. I'm going to go to the layer creator briefly and just simply show you around. If you haven't had the chance to actually experiment it, it's a very simple process of creating a new campaign. And I'm going to go in one of our campaigns here and just show you a little bit the drag and drop system. And as you can see, it's really simple to use. You can also collaborate with peers on campaigns, and you can also test it. So this is where you actually get to scan the image. Going back a little bit to layer and to our resources online, you're going to have here the support system. This is help.layer.com. I hope everybody can see my screen right about now. But yeah, indeed, this is where you can find more information, tutorials. This is basically where you have a lot more information on the HTML widgets and best practices, tips, and a lot of other ones. So very excited to see this happening. Yeah. For some reason, I cannot open my GoToMeeting, so I'll briefly check this. Okay, it seems that I'm a little bit stuck. If anybody has more questions, please voice them out. I'm not sure if I can actually see them right now on the screen, but if not, I will get back to you and give you an answer on your questions if you've already written one out. But thank you for joining today. Thank you. It was really great to have you. As I said, we will follow up with more information with presentation and links to our help desk, links to tutorials and to other tips and tricks, and as well as artwork. So that being said, I will now let you have the rest of the day for yourself or the night. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope to hear soon, to hear back from you soon. And if you happen to have any campaigns that you think are outstanding, or a concept that you think is really interesting, by all means, please share it with us. We're really excited to hear back from you. And again, if you would like to contact me, my email is georgia@layar.com. And that being said, I wish you the best, and yeah, hope to hear soon from you. Have a great day ahead. Bye.
You too. Thank you.